welcome to Devils in Red 59. My name is Steve and today is Friday the 13th of February. This afternoon we're going to be talking about manager snubs. Yesterday it came out that Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, is going to be signing an extension on his England contract which takes him up so that he will be in charge for the Euros 2028 competition. So that really puts Tuchel out of any connection and out the equation with the Manchester United job. I thought then, when it came out yesterday about Tuchel, that would spark other countries that have got managers that believe Manchester United might come in for them. And lo and behold, this morning it's come out that the Brazilian manager Ancelotti has also agreed to sign a new contract with Brazil. In reference to Ancelotti, I think that because he's managed the likes of Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, and he has also managed in the Premiership, I think because of his age and everything, he's possibly looked at his own situation and thought, well, you know, do I really want to go back into league football? And he's probably quite happy just to see out his managerial career with a national team such as Brazil. You know, so good luck to Ancelotti, because I rate him a lot. You know, he's done a lot for the clubs around the world, and I think he's a fantastic manager. Enrique from PSG, again, it's come out this morning about Enrique that he's got 12 months left on his current contract, and I believe that he's going to fulfil that commitment with PSG. I don't know if in the meantime they might sit down and have new contract talks and he'll consider it, or whether he'll just think, well, I've done the 12 months of me remaining contract and I want to now look for maybe new challenges. But in reference to interviewing of managers, you know, INEOS have always stated they want the best in class of everything, and that's like managers, players, backroom staff, and obviously people that sit on the board, such as you know, the CEO, etc. And really, we haven't really seen that, you know, that we've got the best in class. There's so many mistakes been made by INEOS in the last 2 years that they've took over on their 28-30% over footballing matters. You know, I'm not overly impressed with them at the moment. I mean, they have bought in some good signings on the last transfer window, such as Mbumu, Cunha, Lamens, and obviously, you know, people like Leon signed under INEOS, and I believe he's doing really well, well in front of where they expected him to be at the moment. So he might be somebody that can get some first team football maybe next season. But the situation with our manager at Manchester United is, when we were looking for the interim after Ruben Amorim's departure, they said that the interim interviews would be intense. Now, other football clubs that depart company with their managers, such as Chelsea and Tottenham and so forth, they just turn around and say, right, we're appointing the under-21 coach for the next 2 or 3 games, or we're appointing the assistant manager stroke coach to the remainder of the season. But Manchester United decided to go down the route of intense interviews for an interim manager. And those interim managers, as you know, was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Michael Carrick and Van Nistelrooy. Why were they so intense for an interim manager? Well, I believe that the decision was made that if one of those three candidates ticked all the boxes, he would be announced as an interim manager until the end of the season, to allow themselves time in case anything cropped up that they didn't think was possible. But I think all along that the appointment of Michael Carrick, once that decision was made, was with the view that if he does well, he's going to be our guy because he's already in place, his backroom staff are in place, and we're not going to have to spend any more money to bring another manager in. Emery has been mentioned in the past from Aston Villa, but to go and get the likes of Emery out of Aston Villa, you're talking a good few £1 million if they can get him and if he wanted to come. And as we all know, INEOS don't like spending money. And I think that's why they were looking at managers that was possibly out of contract, like Tuchel and Enrique, So I think Pochettino's another one, I think he's out of contract after the World Cup. So they're looking at situations like that where they can bring in managers for minimum amount of money. But as I say, I personally believe that if Michael Carrick does well, which I'm really sure he will do, 5 undefeated, 4 wins, 1 draw, 13 points from 15. We would have all took that a few weeks ago. If he continues down that road, and it's quite evident we're going to probably get maybe a loss or a couple of losses within the remaining 12 games as well. But I think if the majority of wins, couple of draws and a couple of losses, that should be enough to get us into the Champions League. I don't know whether that'll be 3rd, 4th or 5th, but worst case it should be enough to get us 5th. And I believe then, INEOS being INEOS, they'll go through the scenario at the end of the season. Well, we are talking to other managers to make it look like to the fans that they're trying to get the best in class. And then it'll be, we're appointing Michael Carrick as a full-time manager because the other managers that we interviewed and spoke to, we didn't feel that they was a fit for the club. We all know that INEOS want a yes man, somebody that will take instructions and put up with what players are being bought and so forth. So I think it's inevitable that, if Michael Carrick does well, as I say, I think he will get the job. And he's recently just been announced today that he's got the manager of the month, which is good. But to say he only played 2 games in January, I think some of the credit has to go to Ruben Amorim and Darren Fletcher for the games that they were involved with in January. It's not all on Michael Carrick's 2 games, but, fair play to Carrick. He's been recognised by a lot of people for his efforts and the way he's turned round things at Manchester United in respect of the players and the way they're playing, so credit to Michael Carrick and his backroom staff, and as I say, long may that continue. But that's that. Anyway, there's also a rumour going around about Elliot Anderson at Nottingham Forest, that he's possibly going to go to Manchester City in the summer, and different people are saying they think it's pretty much a done deal, because, obviously if you've got the choice to go into somebody like Man City that's got wealth, always bring in top class players, they got a top class manager at the moment. I mean, the only question Manchester City might have to answer at the end of the season is if Pep announces that he's going to leave, then Anderson may well turn around and just say, well, who's going to be the manager and what's going to be his vision, but with everything else that surrounds it, if Manchester City are in for Elliot Anderson, which I'm sure they will be, as well as other clubs. You know, I think that Elliot Anderson could well, you know, sort of say, well, I'd prefer to go to Man City because they're in regular Champions League, they're in winning regular cups and so forth. And I don't suppose you can blame him, you know. I mean, Manchester United, I think one of their biggest problems is they always put out there months and months and months before the transfer window, we're after this player, we're after that player, we're after the other player. And it's week in, week out. Yes, they're our number one target. So everybody knows who we're going for, you know. And I think in years gone by, it only used to really come out who we were actually interested in going for when we actually made the move and actually spoke to somebody. But, you know, it's a big problem. You know, we should keep our cards to our chest in relation to our transfer targets. You know, yes, I mean, you could turn around and say we're looking at bringing in the best midfielders that we can get and so forth, but I think sometimes it's dangerous to put the players that you're actually after out there, because it gives the teams the heads up. You know, the big teams, the Arsenals, the Man Cities, the Liverpools and so forth, you know. So I think we've got to learn to start keeping our cards to our chest a little bit, and hopefully we might be a bit more successful. Something else come out on the media this morning is that there's a rumour that Scott McTominay from Napoli might want to come back to the Premiership, and connections to Manchester United again. Scott McTominay was a good servant with Manchester United, but if they bought him back, they would have to pay for him anyway, and I mean they're not going to pay more money than what we sold him for to bring him back, and plus the fact he's in his late 20s, which goes against INEOS' policies. You know, nobody over sort of 24, 25, so it goes against the grain on that. And plus the fact, if Scott McTominay did come back under Michael Carrick, where would you play him? I don't think he was totally effective as a midfield player before when he was with us, but he seemed more effective as a number 10. And I mean, we seem to be stacked out with number 10s anyway, so if he come back as a number 10, then it means if he's going to play, then somebody else is going to be benched, doesn't it? You know, so I don't think that will happen. Talks about Rashford probably might end up coming back under Michael Carrick. Again, we all know with Marcus Rashford, he's happy in Spain. It was his dream move to Barcelona, and it's only been a week or two ago that, you know, Barcelona said they intend to buy Marcus Rashford in the summer and that. So I don't think there'll be really any truth in him coming back, or be if he did, you could probably understand with him being a left winger that the attraction from that would be there, but obviously, you know, it comes down to the wage structure again then, because I think he's on about 300 odd thousand pound a week, and if we're in the Champions League, you know, that's certainly the money INEOS would have to pay out for him. And as we all know, INEOS are looking at reducing the wage structure. I mean, Casemiro's going that he's reportedly to be on between 3 and 350 a week, so that'll be going off the books. I mean, we've still got Sancho that's on loan. I think he's on somewhere near to £300,000 a week, which will be coming off the books when his contract expires at the end of June. You know, and then obviously if Bruno goes, there's another 300 odd thousand pound a week there going off the books. So I can't see that INEOS are going to want to bring back on another player that's on 300 odd thousand pound a week. And I'm sure Marcus Rashford is not going to want to reduce his wages down to the area that INEOS want to be paying, which is around about the 200,000 or below a week. So again, I can't see that happening either. Just to touch on some news from yesterday, and it's all in the news today, about the comments that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made about various things. We're not politicians. I'm not a politician, and I don't really want to go into details of what's been said and what other people are being said, because I don't think that we're educated enough or even should be contemplating discussing those type of conversations. But obviously the thing I am reporting on is obviously from his comments yesterday. It's come out today that a lot of the players in the dressing room are not happy with Sir Jim Ratcliffe's comments, and I think it's quite right, but if it's took till now for some of the players to realise that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are not what they say on the tin, and it's took comments like this for them to start sitting up and realise that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are, bad news for the club, then, we can give them loads of other reasons that they should have put the Reds up and took account of, such as all the redundancies and the money to charity and so forth, So there's been lots of things there that the players could have took notice of. But as I say, I'm not going to get involved in Sir Jim Ratcliffe's comments over various things. So, it's best really left at that, I think. But I'd just like to thank everybody again that's viewed my videos. Please continue to smash a like and subscribe, please. If you want to get into the comments, I will read any comments that's put in there, and please turn on your notification bell so obviously you're aware of when the new videos come online. I aim to do another one. I mean, we've got no football now until, probably another 12 days. So, there's not going to be a lot to talk about in reference to transfers and stuff like this. But obviously, I will aim to do another video next Monday, and then every 2 days after that. Obviously, if anything breaks of significance, then obviously I will do another video in between those dates. But again, I'd say, thank you to everybody that's viewed the videos. Please smash a like, subscribe and turn on the notification, and I will look forward to doing another one on Monday. Thank you very much.